Welcome to ECHL Hockey on My TV. Tonight, the visiting Fort Wayne Komets take on the homestanding Cincinnati Cyclones at US Bank Arena here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Along with Chris Treff, Ken Horman here on My TV. Glad you could join us as we continue our package of Komet road games. And Chris, I'll tell you what, the Komets come in here on a recent roll, especially in this building where they have won their last 3 outings here against the Cyclones.
They have dominated here in the Queen City all season long. They look to continue their hot streak. They're 6-2-2 in their last 10, and they are just climbing up the standings like a ladder, just moving on up and getting towards the top of the standings if they keep going hard, especially against the Cyclones, who have lost 5 straight and have really been struggling.
Well, you take a look at the standings in the North Division of the ECHL. Kalamazoo now on top with 56 points, but then there really is a cluster. Cincinnati 2 points back at 54, and then the Komets in Evansville just 4 points out of first place now with 52 points apiece. So this is one of those proverbial 4-pointers, and the starters are on the ice right now for the Komets. Up front, it'll be Mike Embach, Sean Szydlowski, and Dean Ouellet. The defensemen will be Jace Coyle and Nathan Martini, and in goal will be Ben Meisner. Rob Medor gets a start now for Cincinnati. And you take a look at the defensemen, Dean Crow, Taylor Aronson, and up front, as they get ready to take the draw, you have the guys who are probably the second line, Dan Eves, Trevor Lewis, and Jonathan Hazen. And the opening draw, we are underway in Cincinnati. A little bit of a storyline, as the official tonight is Stefan Renaud, who was the infamous official in that Friday night game at the Coliseum, controversially won by Kalamazoo in overtime. The linesman Francois Desereau and Patrick Richardson. The puck now comes into the Komet zone, just poked into the corner, and it goes back to the point. Quick shot, but that's poked away by the Komets as Martini rejected that little flip shot by McFadden. Now the K's break out, coming to center ice. Embach looks to return to Szydlowski, but nothing doing there. Now at neutral ice, pinching along the boards, trying to dump it back in was Trevor Lewis. Quick line change both ways, and the Komets come in. Scott Fleming, who just rejoined the K's after a 4-game stint with Worcester, the American Hockey League, tried to find Auger. Now back to the point. Quick shot by Southorn. It's right on and smothered at the net by Medor as the Komets crash the crease. So we have played 1 minute and 9 seconds. Looks like a little bit of a feeling out process, Chris. And again, talking about the fact that Scott Fleming, just coming back from 4 games in the American Hockey League, had a couple of assists with Worcester, and Gary Graham has installed him immediately back at the center spot of the top line.
He's among the top scorers in the ECHL. 4 rookies, even after spending that time in the AHL, he is a very good player.
Brandon Marino slides the puck across to Auger. His one-timer is kicked aside by Medor. Great chance for the Komets early on. Now with speed crossing center ice as the Cyclones, Adam Brace was denied. The K's poke it back into neutral ice and now fired in back behind the goal. Hartman has it for the Komets, but he's bumped off the play that time by Paul Crowder. Crowder and Anthony Luciani both returned from stints in the American Hockey League. They are the top 2 goal scorers for the Cyclones. Back to the point, big drive right on, and it's into the belly that time of Meisner as a big blast from the point that time by David McDonald. We've played 1 minute and 34 seconds scoreless here at beautiful US Bank Arena.
And going back to your point about Luciani and Crowder just coming back from the AHL, that's 70 points out of the lineup that they've had for a week or so, and that probably explains why they're 0-5 in their last 5 matchups. When you have 2 lethal goal scorers like that of the lineup, it's going to be hard to win games, especially when they're really the only 2 prominent goal scorers they have.
Well, Jeremy Mulway jousts for the face-off along with Kenton Miller, and the puck is flipped back into the Komet zone. William Lacasse takes the hit that time by Mulway, and the Komets pinch along the boards. Carter, a big cross-ice pass to Ouellet. Now they scrum for it behind the net, and it looks like we're going to have a penalty right off the hop. It'll come at the 2-minute mark, so Stefan Renaud is going to issue penalty time here at the 2-minute mark.
So the power play for Fort Wayne, which had struggled, they were 2 for their last 35 a couple of games ago. but in their last 5 games are 5 for 22. So it looks like Konstantin Shafronov comes in, gives his wisdom to the boys here, and they have done well since then. 5 goals in their last 5 games on the power play. And let's see if they can have success here early in a big opportunity.
Now the draw goes back to the point. Looks like McDonald went off for a rough at the 2-minute mark. Now it comes cross ice into the corner. Banked off the boards to Southorn. He takes a look right in the slot. Fleming, side of the net. Ouellet. Oh, they're going to call a delay of game on McDonald.
Yeah, shot the puck out.
Yeah, it just flipped up and crawled over the glass. Looking at the gesture, it looked like he was giving him a rough for working the body a little bit in the corner. Now the Komets again, good pressure. Coyle back at the point, deep into the corner. Ouellet gets past him. Fleming, though, chips it along. And here is Marino coming back out to the point to Coyle. Coyle tries to go cross ice. That's chipped away from Marino, but Marino regathers. Now here's Ouellet setting up shot behind his net. A shot right on that time off the shoulder of the goaltender Medor by Doyle, who pinched in from the point. Now working it in the corner. The Komets doing a great job controlling the puck on the power play. Fleming scrumming along the boards. Now Marino loses control and is just flipped the length of the rink that time by Dan Eves, where Meisner gathers and leaves for Southorn.
Good-looking power play so far for Fort Wayne. They got a couple of quality shots, just haven't found the back of the net yet.
Southorn left side to Embach. Embach with speed tries to toe drag it near the top of the circle, but tipped away. Now that time, trying to break out was McFadden, but he forgot the puck. So the Komets now again with control. Szydlowski along to Ouellet. This is Christian Ouellet. Comes back to the point. Lacasse feathers the pass back over. Chipped away again, but controlled by Dean Ouellet. One-timer by Lacasse. That goes off the skate that time of a Cyclone, and dropping his stick that time was Crowder. Now the Komets continue the pressure. Shot just misses. Now Ouellet along the half wall. Well, just feathering the puck that time was Dean Ouellet, but he couldn't get the puck into the lane, and the Cyclones clear. Teams are back at full strength, so Cincinnati chokes off the Komet power play attempt, but the K's has some good chances. Now here's Kaylee Schrock. Fires it right on, steered aside that time by Medor, and Cincinnati turns it back up. Busting in off the wing is Josh Burkholz. He tries to come down the slot, right on, and again into the chest that time of Meisner as Bryant Nugent, right in the slot, took the perfect pass and fired it, but Meisner equal to the task.
Good shot there from Nugent. He had 3 points in his time out west in Las Vegas. He was acquired by Cincinnati 6 games ago, and in those 6 games, he has 4 goals. He is not a goal scorer. He's known for his defensive prowess, but he has been on fire since being acquired from the Wranglers by the Cyclones, really paying them dividends for their acquisition of him.
Now here's Kenton Miller breaking out to neutralize. That's just chipped in by Schrock, who turns on the Jets. He's first one to the puck. Gets it to Matt Carter. Schrock paid the price as he took the heavy hit that time from Taylor Aronson. Now racing out of his net to play the puck is Meisner. He wraps it around behind the net. Now the Komets have to get control of the puck as here come the Cyclones with some pressure. Pinching in is Aronson. Now Lacasse is bumping his man off the play. Again, it's off the boards, and Komets having a little difficulty clearing as Pat O'Keefe stepped in. So the Cyclones defensemen are doing a good job of pinching in and preventing the Komets from breaking out. Now a scrum behind the board, centering pass right in front, and quickly Meisner pounces on it to get the whistle.
Meisner's 1-0 this season against the Cincinnati Cyclones. He stopped 24 of 26 in his victory back on the 8th, which was the last time these two teams played in a 3-2 victory for the Komets. So he has played well, not just against the Cyclones, but overall.
Off the draw, Ouellet breaks out. Little backhand pass from Marino, the ECHL's leading scorer, who dumps it behind the net. Ouellet coming off the big hat trick Sunday at the Coliseum against Kalamazoo. Out of the neutral zone, and it's just poked in that time by Adam Brace. Now again chipped along the boards and flipped high by Ouellet. Again right on, and just smothering the puck is Medor. Medor coming into this game with a record of 11-8 and a 2.99 goals against average. Meisner's record, Chris, is a little misleading, 8-10-2, but he has a solid goals against average of 2.48, and he more or less has been the Komets' road warrior between the pipes.
Oh, yeah, and 6 of those 8 wins have come in Fort Wayne, so a lot of those losses piled up when he was playing for a pretty average team out in Utah, and since coming to Fort Wayne, he's won his last 5 starts in regulation, and he is on fire for the Komets.
Now here come the Cyclones looking to break out. Now crossing center ice. Again, just feathering it in that time.
Hopefully Ouellet's all right. He went to the bench after he lost his stick. Hopefully he just lost his stick. It's not an injury. He was kind of shaking his right arm like something happened. We'll have to assess the situation as we go along, but hopefully he's all right.
Ouellet is a key player for the Komets, too, especially with the 22 goals.
He's tied for the first in the league with goals with our old friend Mickey Lang.
Cross-ice pass, controlled, and here comes Cincinnati in. A shot that, again, is tipped aside that time. Jonathan Hazen making a bid, but denied by Ben Meisner. Now high boards and breaking out. The Komets trying to make something happen. Embach tries to split the defenders. The goalie, Medor, fires behind the net where it's collected by McFadden. McFadden flips it high. Now they don't call the infield fly rule, but it's dumped into the Komets zone. Now here's Martini. Martini leaves for Jace Coyle. Fine rushing defenseman. That's just chipped at the blue line by Embach into the corner. Racing in is McFadden. Cyclones try to bring it out, and it's Josh Burkholz. Now Cincinnati trying to apply a little pressure. Quick peek over the shoulder. That time Martini. Blind shot. That hit the goalpost as weaving around was Nugent. Another shot right on, and that's steered aside by Meisner. Meisner equal to the task as Burkholz made the bid. Now the puck winds up behind the net, but it's Cincinnati first to the puck. They're putting a ton of pressure on the Komets. Back to the point. Cross ice. Drew Daniels. A little rope-a-dope with the puck. There's a shot that time by McFadden that went off a leg through a maze of players, but Cincinnati dominating right now as they have a lot of hop in the step. Another big drive, and that again caroms past Meisner and goes into the corner as McFadden is just teeing it up. He's going to have another chance. Little fake, skates in, the shot. Oh, a great play that time by Meisner with the arm. There's going to be a penalty coming up, and as the Komets touch, it looks like it'll be Cincinnati going on the power play as tripping will be called against the Komets. We have a timeout here at US Bank Arena in Cincinnati. We are scoreless, 12:17 to go in period 1. Cincinnati about to go on the power play.
Presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
The Southorn power play. Four-way penalty on number 25, Martini. 2 minutes for tripping.
Chris Tripp and Ken Horman back at US Bank Arena as the Cyclones go in the power play. Komets did a good job of clearing initially, and now they do it again. And Captain Kaylee Schrock again trying to outrace McFadden to the puck. Schrock has it. Tries to throw a shot on net right in front, and that time, Kenton Miller had a glorious opportunity but couldn't finish. Cross ice a little too strong for Schrock, but Schrock will just send it clear back to the point. Southorn just flips it into the Cincinnati zone, so the Komets have killed off 50 seconds of the power play. Nathan Martini going off 2 minutes for tripping at the 7:43 mark. Now again,
Cincinnati has a power play that has struggled all season long at home. 22nd in the league, that's last. 9.3 is all they have. I'm not trying to jinx it, but they have struggled with the man advantage here at US Bank Arena.
And the Komets again do a great job of clearing the puck. That time it was William Lacasse firing at the length of the rink. So the Cyclones regather, and here comes another rush. Scoreless game, 10:50 to go here in the opening period. Racing behind the net, Hazen has the puck. It comes back to the point. Now it comes cross ice. Skating in is McDonald. McDonald now behind the net. Jace Coyle tries to run him off the play. Keeping it alive, though, is Hazen. Now the Komets double team and come away with the puck. Fleming just chips it ahead. The Komets will go for a line change down to the final 10 of this Cincinnati man advantage. Don't know if they'll have a chance to get one last rush. Now the puck is ahead to Burkholz. Into the corner, Hazen. A couple of Komets double team him, and back on the ice is Martini, so the team's at full strength. Well, a shot from the point winds up in the slot as Hazen gets it into the corner. That time a shot from a bad angle is right on by Trevor Lewis, and again Meisner had to be alert, and he gets the whistle and a face-off. It's been a fast-paced first period, Chris. We've already played just about 10 minutes. Shots are even, 4 apiece, and Cincinnati had a couple of good opportunities, especially when they were working the puck back and forth from the point, but Meisner so far, as he has been on the road and especially in this building, on top of his game.
He is playing outstanding to start the game. Both teams have had a power play and not scored, so we're still at square one. And the first goal is important. Just like I said last game in Wheeling, whoever scores the first goal, the percentage of that team winning goes up by a lot, especially if you look at both teams' records.
Dean Ouellet won the draw from Malway, and now they bang along the boards right near the players' bench. Szydlowski takes a stick right in the chops, and there's no call, as Renaud is clear across the ice at the far boards and didn't see it was an accident, but the stick came up and got him right in the chin. Now the Komets trying to put some pressure on. Embach, like he lost a little bit of an edge. Now the Cyclones look to break out. That pass is too sharp, and that should be an icing. Stretching out was Nugent, but the pass was way ahead of him. So the face-off goes back into the Cincinnati zone. You may note that the Komets are wearing their traditional home whites with the orange, and Cincinnati were wearing their dark uniforms. It was shortly after the first of the year where they did the old flip-flop, where the home team wears the colored jerseys and the road team wears their whites.
And I like that a lot because usually the darker jersey is the cooler design and it's more colorful, and it's nice to get the home fans to see the brighter, more colorful jersey.
Martini comes across, big drive by Coyle is wide. Racing for the puck, though, is Szydlowski. Boy, he sidesteps a couple of Cyclones that were looking to make a Sid sandwich, but racing in on the off wing, a shot whistles over the top of the crossbar, banks up into the netting as Eves broke down the off wing with speed. So we have a timeout here at US Bank Arena, 9:13 to go in the opening period. We are scoreless. It's a good hockey game. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
And now, back to My Komets Hockey on My TV Fort Wayne, presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Off the face-off, Cincinnati again trying to apply pressure in the Komets zone. Meisner has had to be prepared, and he has been Johnny on the spot several times, and now he'll just scoop the puck from behind the net and collect for a face-off. Looked like Jordan Southorn was wondering, hey, I was ready to play the puck, but I think Meisner needed a mask adjustment.
Well, on the shot from Luciani from a bad angle, I think it took one of the straps off his helmet, and he was making the hand signal to the official, trying to get a whistle, and he was not awarded that, so he says, I'm going to stop this play and fix my helmet if you're not going to give me a whistle. So Southorn was a little bit surprised, but I think he understands now that he sees his buddy Meisner fixing his helmet there, which is a smart play, because if he had continued, he might have gave up a softie because he's thinking about how his helmet's messed up.
Well, the Komets win the draw. Fleming easily picks the pocket of Crowder. Again, you have Crowder and Luciani, who are the top two goal scorers in this team, coming back from recent American Hockey League call-ups. Now the defenseman Southorn speeds in, backhands the pass as he's given a rough ride along the boards that time by Aronson. Now again, pass in the slot, shot just wide that time. Looked like again it changed directions. And here come the Komets breaking out. Little backhand attempt that time by Hartman to center. Komets crash the net. There's a chance for Hartman. No! And it's again right into the chest of the goaltender, Mador.
Hartman not known for his goal scoring. He's more of a shutdown defenseman. He actually only has one career goal, and it came from the point with like 6 screens in front. So he is not the most skilled of players in terms of offense. I mean, he can shut down any good forward with the best of them. But he got the puck right in the slot and tried to prove us wrong, and he almost got it past Mador, who shuts the door.
Well, one of the things I like, I think the Komets noticed the Cincinnati defensemen were pinching, so when they got the opportunity, first Southorn with the rush, as rushing in right now for the Cyclones. Oh, a shot again over the top that time as Burkholz turned on a burst of speed and came in off the wing and was bidding for a shot high corner. But on the last Komet sequence, Chris, first Southorn carried the puck in, flipped it in, and he pursued, and then Hartman did the same thing, and he wound up with a very, very good scoring opportunity. So you love to see the Komets aggressive in trying to carry the play to the Cyclones, maybe put them on their heels and create some odd man situations. Now Kenton Miller collects the puck, feeds it along the boards. Again, just chipped in. Matt Carner gives some pursuit as he bumps his defender, David McDonald, off the play. Breaking out, though, is Jeremy Mulway. It's off the skate that time of Burkholz, and Carter, again, just a little flip shot. Gloved that time by Pat O'Keefe. He's chased by the Komets, but he rings it around the boards. Now cross ice. That pass is behind Burkholz. Cincinnati has to set it up again. Under 7.5 minutes to go here in period one. We're scoreless from US Bank Arena in Cincinnati. ECHL hockey here on MyTV. Glad you could be with us. Chris Treft, Kent Horman. Now Martini breaks in, but has the puck poked away. Backhanded towards center ice that time by Eves, but now the Komets have it. Looking up the middle, Dean Ouellet slips one check. Now Ouellet still has it. Oh, he centers, and it's guided away that time by Medor. Komets try to keep the pressure on. And at center ice, it comes back to Martini. Martini comes cross ice. Dean Ouellet, a recent acquisition from San Francisco after that club folded.
A great pickup he is for the Komets. He has 8 points in his last 9 games, including his first 4 with the Komets.
Now Hazen trying to carry. Martini smacks it into the corner. Racing in to make the play is Eves. But the Komets look to break out. That pass a little too strong that time. Embach tries to step into his man that time. And coming out is Jace Coyle. Coyle also had a recent American Hockey League call-up. That's just flipped in and gloved by Medor, who will take the face-off. So we have another timeout in the action here at US Bank Arena. 6 minutes, 17 seconds to go in period one. We are scoreless, the Komets and the Cyclones, and you're watching My Komets on MyTV.
Presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Back at US Bank Arena, the Komets and Cincinnati scoreless here in period number one. ECHL hockey here on MyTV. Now breaking in again, Cincinnati behind the net, trying to scoop it out is Crowder up to the high boards. That time Luciani has the puck poked away, and the Komets look to break out, but it's back in their zone, and that would be an offside because Cincinnati had not cleared the zone.
Man, watching this Luciani kid, he is one heck of a player, the 23-year-old and product of the Erie Otters in the OHL, where he's teammates with Ryan O'Reilly and our old friend Justin Hodgman back in junior. He is just so explosive with his speed. He's got great hands. He shoots from everywhere. He's an excellent player, and you could tell why they may have lost the last 5 games not having him in the lineup.
Well, Devin Crow just wrapped that deep into the Komet zone. But the K's look to break out. The number one lines are matched up against each other. Now here's Southorn looking to center. Oh, Fleming got a little bit of the stick on it and trying to race down the slot that time. It looked like Marino. Don't know if he was given some help or if he lost an edge. But he went chest first into the goalpost, and Medor had to think self-preservation first and foremost, but Marino seems none the worse for wear, and after he got up, Medor gave him a little tap with the stick to make sure he was okay, but, well, that's literally what you call crashing the net.
And they say that Marino knocked it off, so it'll come outside of the zone. It looked to me that Aronson, the 6'1", 189-pound defenseman, shoved him into the post, but they say he went in without any help, so that's why the faceoff was outside.
Now the Komets again try to put some pressure on, and that should be an icing as that gets past the Cyclone, busting in off the wing. So it goes back to the Cincinnati zone. That time, Phil Buschbacher, who is the 10th forward for the Cyclones, getting a shift. Couldn't quite gather that pass. 5:15 to go here, opening period. We are scoreless, the Cyclones and the Komets. Komets have the shot advantage right now, 6-4. Both goalies sharp in the early going. Fast-paced period. Now the Komets look to dig it along the near boards, but can't quite get the job done, so Jeremy Gates comes ahead, a little cross-ice pass, goes to Christian Ouellet, looking for Kenton Miller. again, just a little too strong. I think it glanced off the blade of his stick and right on. So right now the goaltenders, when anything is anywhere near them, they're just coming out, smothering the puck and getting a face-off so they can live to fight another day.
The transition game for both these teams is so important. So the goalies understand that if you try to slow down that transition game, it could really have an advantage towards your team.
So Eves, Lewis, and Hazen are out to go against the Kenton Miller line with Matt Carter. Also have Christian Ouellet out. Gates just tries to guide a shot to carom it off the boards to see if he could have a teammate grab it, but now the puck comes back into the Komet zone. Gates races back, turns it back up, goes cross ice. That's chipped off the stick that time at Christian Ouellet, so he'll regather, and the Komets will start anew. Now Gates banks it off the boards behind the net. William Lacasse, he stepped into that time by Hazen, and it neutralized. Here come the Cyclones. They just flip it in over the net as they'll go for a line change. So the K's look to break out. Things clogged up along the blue line. Turning is Trevor Lewis. Now he comes back to his point. That's feathered along the boards where Lacasse gathers for the Komets. Cross ice to Dean Ouellet. Now Ouellet takes a look through center ice. Ouellet with speed comes in to Szydlowski. It's in his feet, and he's shoved down from behind. No call. And here come the Cyclones back the other way. Under 4 minutes to go of a scoreless first period. Coyle, little backhand pass behind the net. Neatly done. Easily collected by Martini. Crisp cross-ice pass to Szydlowski. Szydlowski looks to center, and right there is Mador on his knees to collect. And again, shoved down from behind was Embach, and he looks up at Stephen Renaud and says, are you going to raise the arm? I guess not.
I think the problem that, especially the Komets we know from last Friday with Renaud is just a little bit inconsistent. Sometimes he calls things and then he lets the same thing go later, and that's the frustration with the Komets. With Renaud, as they've had a bad experience with him recently, hasn't done too bad of a job here tonight so far. Penalty called on each team.
Now, clearly the teams are trying to play hockey. They know the 2 points are extremely important. Now breaking out is Luciani in the off wing. Just looks to flip it for anybody he can find. And what he does is he finds Scott Fleming. Fleming breaking in on the wing. Now he has it. Leaves for Ouellet. Ouellet has the puck peeled off his stick, but racing in is Southorn. Now Marino digging behind the net. Again, looked like he was pulled down by McFadden on they play. McFadden can't clear. Fleming is right there to keep the puck alive. That time he was looking for Ouellet, but too much traffic. Now the Komets will break it back in as Hartman will serve it along the boards. Now McFadden intercepted by Ouellet. McFadden steps into Ouellet. Komets, great pressure right there at the side of the net. Oh, what a shot that time. Racing in was Kenton Miller, and it looked like it caught the goaltender Mador high off the body. There's a shot right on. Knocked down by Meisner, and he steers it into the corner. So the pace picking up. 2.5 minutes to go in this first period. We're still scoreless. Komets look to break out. Here is Southorn. Fine rushing defenseman. His shot is deflected that time, and it hits the netting behind the net, so we'll have a face-off with 2:20 to go. We are scoreless. I don't think there's any question, Chris. The teams know the importance of the 2 points in this hockey game.
Oh, yeah, this is a huge game. A 4-point matchup, as we said earlier. For those of you who don't quite get what we're saying, only 2 points are available. But if you win, you get 2 points, and the other team doesn't. So essentially, if you think about it, it's pretty much like getting 4 points. Because not only are you getting your 2 points, but you're keeping the other team from getting 2 points. And Cincinnati's desperately got to find a way to stop this slump. And for Fort Wayne, they just want to keep her going and keep charging up in the standings. And you never know, if Cincinnati doesn't find a way to get out of the slump and Fort Wayne stays hot, they might be able to catch the Cyclones.
Well, they always say a season like this is a marathon, not a sprint, and the Komets have consistently hung in there. The organization with David Franke, Gary Graham have continued to work to build this hockey team into a team, and I think they're about there right now, as that will sail over the shoulder of Gates and will be another icing against the Cyclones, who now seem to be content with just dumping the puck. But when you think about the fact that Cincinnati came out of the gate blazing 7-0, and you and I were talking about this pregame where you said Cincinnati has either been in first or second the entire season, and first for most of the season, Now all of a sudden, Kalamazoo up by 2 points. Cincinnati 2 points back in second. Then come the Komets and Evansville, only 4 points out of first place. And the Komets are playing their best hockey right now. Kenton Miller, a strong guy on his blades. Now Christian Ouellet tries to keep it in. The Komets are really smothering the Cyclones right now as we wind down to 100 seconds left in the first period. And now Miller getting a little bit of an invitation for some extracurriculars from Trevor Lewis, but they change instead. Now down to the final 90. Big shot snapped in by Hartman, blocked away that time by Menor, and following from the bad angle was Carter. Medor had to be ready again. Komets just turning the pressure up. Here's Carter. Little stick handling, back to the point it goes, and then another shot. That time it takes a Cyclone defender right off his pins and still slow in getting up. Komets, now they're going to call that an intentional offside, as limping off is Pat O'Keefe, as that shot from the point by Jace Coyle probably got him around the ankle area, where you don't have much padding on the old kicks.
Yeah, right on the laces of your skates. There's no padding really at all except for your lace and the tongue of your skate, which is nothing at all. And you've never played hockey before. If you get hit, right on top of the foot, it really just makes your whole leg numb, and you can't put weight on it. It's just darn near impossible to skate on, and that's probably what happened to O'Keefe there. Unfortunately, it was offside, and he can get off the ice.
Fleming again wins the draw. He has dominated Crowder on the faceoffs. Now we're down to 1 minute to go. Dean Ouellet uses his feet well, kicks it in along the boards. Szydlowski now tries to keep the pressure on. Boy, you really like the game that Dean Ouellet has. You can see why the Komets were interested in his services once San Francisco folded. Ooh, a little bit of stick work that time as Brace goes to town on the Komets, but here come the K's working it out. Probably one more good rush. Embach to the wing. Centering pass to Szydlowski. Oh, what a great play, but just missing it that time was Ouellet. They were playing tic-tac-toe, and there's a score! What a great play by the Komets to keep the puck alive. Embach scores, and the Komets have a 1-0 lead. What a goal by the Komets.
Mike Embach, the former Cincinnati Cyclone, gets his 4th goal since being let go by Cincinnati against Cincinnati. He is definitely biting the hand that used to feed him, as you like to say. And he walks out of the corner uncontested and just puts it top shelf, right where Mama hides the cookies. Everyone just kind of stopped. I think the Cyclones were mesmerized by that tic-tac-toe play. They're thinking, how did we not get scored on there? And they just got caught watching. Mike Embach walks in, bada bing, bada boom. 1-0 Komets, last minute of the period.
Embach, his 17th goal of the season at the 1932 mark. Now Marino along the boards to Auger. Fleming, little spinorama, and the Cyclone player loses an edge.
He's hurt bad.
They play on.
I mean, he went down instantly, and his knee looked all kinds of weird and twisted. He flailed up the arms, and you could hear him yell from up here. This one might be serious. Like, we can't see the player. He's right by the boards. I'm not sure who it happened to, but hopefully for the Cyclones, he's all right, because that looked nasty.
Well, to recap, Embach gets his 17th goal, the assist to Dean Ouellet and Sean Szydlowski at 1932. Then moments after that, right near the top of the circle on the near boards, Auger took the puck and made a great move, quite honestly, and it faked the Cyclones player, and I have a feeling when he tried to position himself, and especially, Chris, since it's along the board, sometimes you get some ruts in there. He may have caught a skate. We're only speculating here, but the player went down, his stick went flying, and right now you have a little bit of high drama on the ice as far as the Cyclones are concerned.
And we played 19:57 of this period, only 3 seconds left. So that means the ice is all kinds of chopped up. And when you're skating and a guy kind of gives you the inside-outside and you guess wrong and you catch a rivet, if your leg gets caught, you could really hurt your knee, your ankle, and he's being helped off by 3 Cyclones players. This is not looking good.
Yeah, it looks like there is virtually no weight being put on the one leg.
And that's just so unfortunate. You hate to see that happen.
Trying to identify the player.
I thought it was Lewis, but maybe McDonald? I think it might be McDonald. No, McDonald's on the ice. That was another wrong guess.
We will double check because I didn't want to speculate as to who was injured. Final 3 seconds, and the Komets again are just pouring the pressure on the Cyclones, and that'll do it for period number 1. And a good period it was for the Komets, as the latter 5-6 minutes or so, the Komets really ramped up the intensity, dialed things up, and they score the lone goal of period 1. So the Komets have a 1-0 lead after the opening 20 minutes. We'll take
Chris Up from UC Health. Be aware that pucks, hockey sticks, and other objects may fly into the stands if you want serious feedback. Please be alert at any time.
Back at U.S. Bank Arena, moments away from the start of period number 2. Chris Treft, Kent Horman here on My TV. Glad you could join us for Fort Wayne Komet hockey. The Komets, on the strength of a pretty goal by Mike Embach in the first period, lead 1-0 as we get set to start the second 20 minutes of play. The center ice we come, and we are underway, and the Komets come away with the opening draw, but it's fired back a little too sharply for Jace Coyle. Crisp pass as he centers ahead to Dean Ouellet. Ouellet takes the return pass from Szydlowski. Leaves. Well, that shot was chipped away that time as Embach bidding for his second goal here in the opening 20 seconds. Komets pinch along the boards. Now rubbing off the play is Dan Eves as Embach pursues Eves. Eves feathers a soft little pass to Aronson, and now the Cyclones look to break out. That's just fired. Karam's behind the net. Meisner down on a couple of knees, giving his team a clear vision. Puck goes back to neutral ice. Drew Daniels has. Now he goes back to Josh McFadden. It's chipped along the boards where it's gathered in by Embach. Embach comes across on the backhand of Ouellet. Ouellet, top of the circle, fires, and it's gloved by Medor, who again, he dropped down to make the play. So the Komets with the opening shot of period number 2. We've played about a minute. Komets on top 1-0, and so far the K's have outshot the Cyclones 11-5.
Yes, they have. They're firing rubber from all over the place, and luckily Medor's pads are already black, as they might have all kinds of marks on them with all the rubber that he's seeing from the Komets tonight.
Now McFadden to center ice. Good pass. That is right on the stick that time of Crowder, but he left it. Let the Cyclones keep it in. Chasing is Brace. Now Brace has it behind the net. Looks to center. Gets through the skates that time of the Komet defender Hartman, but the puck winds up in no man's land, so Cincinnati has to go back and regather. So behind his own net, Drew Daniels brings it out. Komets put a good forecheck on, but now breaking out with speed is McFadden. McFadden takes a little return pass that time from Crowder, and the puck just slid wide, but right out in front, and the Komets will gather it in. Then Crowder puts a little bit of a slash on Ouellet. Ouellet just tried to carom it off the boards. Now he pinches in right near the half wall. Ouellet had it for a moment. Now it's behind the Cincinnati goal. We've played 2 minutes of period 2. It's been a fast-paced hockey game. McFadden feeds ahead. Here's Crowder, but it's poked away by Lacasse. Right in front, right on. And the K's deny. Now the Komets break out. It's 1-on-1. They're looking for a 2-on-1. Here's Carter. Carter, a little fake. Little backhand as he tries to get it across that time for the rushing Jeremy Gates.
He put that a little bit too high. He tried to sauce over the defender's stick, but he put it over his own teammate's stick inadvertently.
Wraparound bid by Christian Ouellet. No, but Miller has it. Now his shot goes right past Medor. Komets keep it in. The K's with tremendous pressure. Now Christian Ouellet, who is very strong in his skates, continues to dig in the corner. Kept in at the point and just served back along the boards by Lacasse. Centering pass attempted that time by Ouellet. Now Carter spins around, looks for the puck. Cincinnati looking to get out of their zone in any way possible, hustling out his Burkholz, but Lacasse stands into him, and William Lacasse collects behind the Komet goal. Now he'll break out and start the rush for the K's. Good pass ahead to Carter. Carter does a little dance. Now he looks for a chance to center, just sends it along the boards. Christian Ouellet given a bit of a rough ride by O'Keefe, and now here come the Cyclones back the other way. Now O'Keefe fires it in. He'll give chase. Coyle will just bump him off the play as the Komets try to keep it along the boards. Digging around is Buschbacher, and we'll see if Jeremy Malway comes out this period as he suffered some sort of a leg injury with 3 seconds to go in the opening period. and he's one of the centermen for the Cyclones. Now Cincinnati looking for some pressure as Buschbacher looks to center, nobody home, and the puck goes the length of the rink.
The Komets doing a great job in their D zone of really collapsing towards the middle. The Cyclones work it well around the perimeter when they try to get into the house. Right in the slot area, Fort Wayne's collapsing all 5 guys down into that house, as we call it. And the Cyclones can't get anything in the prime scoring opportunities, and when they do get the puck, they're getting their shots blocked by some persistent defense by the Komets.
Well, that was icing on the K's. Check that, it was icing on the Cyclones. And Ouellet will skate in to take the draw. So the Komets are really pouring the pressure on. Well, they're wearing their traditional home jerseys, and lately U.S. Bank Arena has been like home ice to the Komets. They are 3-0 in this barn this year. Martini pays the price as he has stood into that time.
And in fact, all time, they've only lost once since joining the ECHL here. 4-1.
It's interesting. We were talking about this on the ride up about how some teams with matchups. The Komets have had all sorts of problems with Elmira, one of the teams that doesn't have very much of a record in the league. Boy, a big hit that time is put on Hazen. Back the other way. Oh, my.
We got to fight out at center.
Well, I think he was upset because of that big body check, and now Martini is going as that time Cincinnati was trying to break in. Martini with a big right just peels the helmet that time off of David McDonald. Now, I think Cincinnati was upset, and it's one of the things that bothers me about hockey, Chris. I know you've played the game. That time, a guy issues a great body check.
Yeah,
I mean, a superb body check, lays a guy out, and then all of a sudden somebody has to take offense and start something. And it was Hazen who got laid into.
And he's lucky, actually, that the puck come back the other way, and Eves walked in down the right side. He had an excellent opportunity to score. And the fight almost cost them an opportunity by McDonald. Yeah, you're the captain, and you're trying to defend your teammate. But the thing is, when you see your team streaking up the ice, at least wait till the opportunity is over to do that. And like you said, there's a lot of controversy, especially in the NHL. Every time there's a hit, whether it's clean or not, someone has to fight. In that situation, that was a clean hit laid by Martini, but he was challenged by McDonald. And he showed his toughness to stand up to that challenge, and he did an excellent job in the fight. He actually punched McDonald so hard he knocked his helmet off. Hopefully it doesn't hurt Martini's knuckles, because punching the top of a helmet is never fun.
No, hitting the helmet is not a good thing for the old paw. Well, you have coincidental fightings, 5 for fighting each for McDonald and Martini, coming at the 4:25 mark. And that probably is one of those cases, McDonald, the captain, trying to step up for his teammates like Haley Schrock always does for the Komets, and probably trying to put a charge in this Cyclones team, which has lost 5 consecutive games, 4 of them here at U.S. Bank Arena, and the last 2 to the Komets. So, but you're right, it was an ill-advised move because they were breaking in. Now on the wing, skating in, little backhand attempt that time is denied by Meisner, and there's going to be a penalty call as cruising right in was Lewis. He missed on the backhander as Meisner stood his ground, but here comes a penalty. This will be at the 4:44 mark.
Great play there by Lewis, who is actually under contract with the Florida Panthers, one of their affiliates. The former Robert Morris University Colonial walks in, and he forces Lacasse to put a saddle on him. He rode him like a horse as he walked in. And he gets the gate for the penalty and a power play opportunity, the second of the game for the Cyclones. As I said, 9.3 is the percentage on home ice, which is last in the league. And when you're struggling, the power play is key. And they need to get this struggling power play going in order to get themselves out of the slump as well.
Shot right on, another shot, the rebound goes off the goalpost, they're crashing the net. Oh, Meisner has done the splits, and he denies. What a tremendous save. Luciani came in off the off wing, the first shot was stopped, a rebound went off the crossbar, right near the elbow, and then Meisner doing a perfect split, covering post to post, denied the Cyclones. Well, what they called Lacasse for a slash at the 4:44 mark.
How about that save by Meisner? After his hockey career, he could have an opportunity as a magician, because that was an absolute magic trick to keep that puck out. I don't know how he did it, I would have pulled my groin, or probably even more, if I'd have tried that play. What a save. A little hope from the post on the first opportunity by Meisner.
Now the puck gets caught up in the equipment of Southorn. Now he just bangs his guy right into the boards, and the Komets have a chance to clear. Smashing it off the boards that time was Hartman. Good play by Jordan Southorn. And the Komets race in almost, and it is stolen by Ouellet. Great forecheck by Ouellet. That should have been interference that time. And crying for the penalty that time was Luciani, as he was the one interfering with Dean Ouellet. A great body check that time by Southorn as he stands into McFadden. Now the Komets look to control the puck, but the Cyclones behind their net look to center. Komets deny. There's still just over a minute left in the power play, as now cruising out is Crowder with the puck. Comes back to the point. Aronson looks to tee it up. Too much traffic now to Luciani. His shot gloved by Meisner. What a quick hand by Meisner. Well, it's interesting because the Komets outshot Cincinnati in the first period 10-5. They had an 11-5 shot advantage early on in this period, and that one big flurry, I guess you could say, really caught the Cyclones up, because now the shots are even at 11 apiece. We have 14-14 to go in period 2. Still 58 seconds left in the Cincinnati power play. Komets lead 1-0. And here is Jace Coyle cycling out high off the boards. Good job of keeping it in, though, with a quick glove of O'Keefe, but there'll be a hand pass called against Cincinnati.
I wouldn't consider myself a hockey expert. I'm up there a little bit, but my observation of the Cyclones power play and why it's struggling is they are not getting men on the loose puck. Every time there's a loose puck or a Komets player has it, you have to have two guys on the puck. You have one more player than the other guy. You can afford to double up on your forecheck, and they're just not doing that. Look at Coyle right there. He skated around for 10 seconds and just cleared the puck. And right now, no pressure put on Embach, and he just ices it down. They need to get pressure on the Komets if they want to get away from this struggling power play.
Now Brandon Marino applying a lot of pressure on the Cyclones, which is chewing up a bunch of time on this power play, which is down under 30. Now racing in is Eves. He'll try to chase the puck, but Coyle wins that race, kind of fans on the clearing attempt. Served behind the net, but nobody home for Cincinnati, and a good job as the K's clear it once again. And Marino putting some pressure on, so Medor will feed the pass up ahead to Hazen, who circles behind his goal. Final 6 of this power play. Probably one last chance to dump it in with a bit of an odd man. Now, Komets are back to even strength. Cincinnati looks to weave it in, though, as O'Keefe tries to stand in front. Good job by the Komets to deny. Great job by Jeremy Gates. Gates fends his man off. Cincinnati again looking to center. Comes back to the point. But the Komets chip it out. Boy, Brandon Marino has just been all over the ice.
Look out.
Well, they're trying for the home run there as Coyle was looking clear across ice on the left wing that time, looking for Embach, and just a little too strong.
Yeah.
Marino saw that play developing, and he was trying to catch up, but it's an icing on the Komets. 12:52 to go in period 2. The Komets still on top 1-0 on the Mike Embach goal, his 17th of the season, coming with 28 seconds to go in the opening period.
He almost had a great opportunity for his second goal of the game. Missed it by a couple inches there. Coyle put the puck behind Embach. He had a little more time than he thought. He saw the Cyclones were changing and tried to rush it really quick, but it turns out he had a little bit more time to put it on the tape there. Unfortunate break for the Komets.
Now the number 1 lines are battling again. Jeremy Gates fights through the body check that time of Aronson. Well, I'll tell you what, it looks like there are some things going on, and Renaud is not calling a thing. Now the hustling Haley Schrock tries to chase down his man. From behind, he reels in Bushbacher, who came in as the 10th forward, but if you just might be tuning in, Jeremy Mulway went down late in the first period with what appeared to be a leg injury. Komets try to center. Schrock was learning to turn it in and just couldn't quite do it. Now breaking out the other way is Aronson. Cyclones pour in 4 players, but Hartman hustles, tries to bank it off the boards as Schrock goes forward. He's given a two-hander that time by Aronson. Komets look to break it out. Here's Hartman on the rush. Joe Hartman breaking in one-on-one, puts the shot, deflected a little bit wide. Crowder races in. Now the captain, Kaylee Schrock, who always has the high motor, does a great job, and a solid shift for the Komet captain. Good job by Southorn just to move his man away from the play. Now Carter, a good back check, takes his defender off the play. Komets are really dialing in their game. Now Southorn circles in his own end. That time a little stick work is also applied by Brace, but the Komets just keeping their heads up and playing hockey. Szydlowski feeds it back. Hartman now back to Szydlowski. Little backhand pass. That's collected by Southorn. Feeds it ahead. Cross ice it comes. Here's Dean Ouellet. Boy, does he ever have the soft hands working the stick. Now he circles. Just a little backhand feathered up high. Gloved down that time by Dan Eves. Now back to neutral ice they come. Cross ice pass intercepted by the Komets. A little bit into the feet that time of Szydlowski, but racing in is Christian Ouellet as he puts the pressure on Drew Daniels. Under 11 minutes to play, period 2, a fast-paced hockey game. Luciani breaks in. Well, they're saying he was onside.
That was close.
Behind the net, Cyclones gather, look to bring it out, but great play that time by the Komets. Is flipped high off the glass by Szydlowski, and racing back to collect again is Burkholz. Now Burkholz through center, just chipped in as Luciani goes for a line change. Trevor Lewis hustles in, puts the body into the Komet defender. Comes back to the point, one-timer. That time, that was just a little bit wide by O'Keefe as Burkholz tried to deflect it past Meisner, who has been tremendous between the pipes for the Komets. That thing was an errant clearing pass that time by Gates and kept alive by Cincinnati, but Meisner was alert. Now at neutral ice, here comes Christian Ouellet. Poked off of his stick. Cyclones turn it back the other way. Here breaking in, shot, score!
What a shot coming down the right wing, and a beautiful wrister over the shoulder of Meisner by Burkholz. And, you know, we said he was the 10th forward coming to this game. He gets the opportunity with the injury to Mulway, and he pays his coach dividends as he walks in and fires the wicked wrister past Meisner. And a big goal for Cincinnati. They had Fort Wayne all over them, but then Cincinnati comes back, starts taking control of the play, and they finally are credited for all their hard work and a good shot.
Now Burkholz picks up goal number 6 as the puck reversed the other way kind of quickly in the neutral zone, and then Burkholz got a bit of a step around Jeremy Gates. You have to give him credit for a great shot that beat Meisner short side over the glove, so we are tied at 1. That goal coming at the 9:59 mark. Burkholz goal number 6, and we are even at 1.
That's a goal in any league. That's an absolute rocket. See if the Komets can answer back, and they really do. What a save by Medor there. Big shot from Embach, and then even the rebound chance was stopped by Medor.
Time of the goal, 9:59.
The Komets almost answer back.
Well, we've got a timeout here at US Bank Arena, 9:41 to go. We are all even. Cincinnati 1 and the Komets 1. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
All right, Cyclones.
Way, presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Chris Treft and Ken Horman back at US Bank Arena, and here's a chance right up in front. Oh, a backhand attempt that time by Luciani, and a tremendous save by Meisner, who kept this a tie game. Cincinnati now trying to pick up the play a little bit. Coyle tries to move it up, but the Cyclones pinch and keep it back into the Komet zone. Luciani comes back to the point, but that's intercepted by Marino. Marino tries to work his way past O'Keefe, fights through O'Keefe. Now it comes back the other way. Komets have to hustle to avoid the 2-on-1. There's a drive, and again Meisner ready to go.
I think that one hit off the crossbar, actually, or Meisner got a piece of it. Either way, excellent opportunity for Cincy.
Now they try to send it to Luciani, and it goes off his stick and high. Back to the point, controlled by Pat O'Keefe, into the corner for Crowder. They center it again, that time fanning is Brace, and the Komets look to break it out. Just over 8.5 minutes to play in period 2. We are tied at 1. The shots are even at 13 apiece. Kenton Miller will saucer it into the zone, and the race is won. The Komets keep it alive. Looking to center is Miller. Now he drops it back to the point. Southorn takes a look. Pinching along the high wall is Kenton Miller. He's double teamed, though, by the Cyclones. Looking to break out that time was Hazen. But Southorn would have none of that. End-to-end action. Now O'Keefe crosses center ice and guides it into the zone. Meisner rings it around the boards where it's collected by Southorn. That's a sharp pass that's too strong for Carter, and that will be an icing against the Komets. Well, My Komets on My TV is brought to you by Parkview Sports Medicine, which offers a continuum of care approach for athletes, providing training, treatment, and education for sports enthusiasts at all levels. The program serves athletes of all ages, providing opportunities to those just beginning their athletic careers, to those who just enjoy staying active and are looking to maintain certain aspects of their competitive edge. Parkview Sports Medicine, proud sponsor of Komet Hockey. Under 8 minutes to go now in period 2. It's been a dandy. We are tied 1-1. Kaylee Schrock flips the high pass as Carter gives chase. It's chipped back out, but Hartman keeps it alive, dumps it in behind the zone where the goaltender Medor backhands it the other way. Buschbacher tries to chip it ahead where it's collected by Hartman. Strong pass that time is tipped in by Schrock. Now the Komets go for a full line change. Cyclones look to break out. Well, that's going to be an icing against Cincinnati. Not sure at all that time what Devin Crow was looking for, because there was simply nobody home.
He's hoping to hit a Komet so that negate icing. But the thing I've noticed since the Cyclones have really taken control of this play as of late is the neutral zone. The Komets did a great job in the first period and the early parts of period number 2 of really collapsing the Cyclones in the neutral zone. But since about the halfway point of this period, they've been flying through neutral ice just like they're doing now, and that's what's leading their opportunities and led to a goal.
Now, Dean Ouellet won the draw, but it came out toward the blue line, and Cincinnati raced out to get it. Now they're trying to scrum it out, but here come the Komets looking to break out. Komets have numbers as they come in off the wing. Here's Dean Ouellet, takes a look right along the half wall. Boy, that time Medor was bumped into by his own man, and now Daniels using the lumber a little bit. To break out. Here come the Cyclones, but the Komets gather back at neutral ice. Jeremy Gates will just dump it in. He goes for a line change. Now Christian Ouellet steps into his man. So I think the physicality picking up a little bit here in period 2 as well. That cross-ice pass was gloved by Brace and dumped in. Martini takes his man off the play. Crowder goes to the ice, and on they play. Now it's Crowder, bumped off again by Martini, hustling for the puck. And firing it cross ice that time was Christian Ouellet, and it gets through. Now the Komets looking to get some numbers. Auger was waiting for some more white jerseys to join him. Medor again leaves behind, but a great interception that time by Szydlowski. Szydlowski tries to circle out, now spins deep in the corner, has the puck taken away by Drew Daniels. Cincinnati looks to break out. Good back check by Auger. Now doing a little two-step is Luciano that time as he was looking to draw a penalty, just lost his blades. Right up in front now. Luciani was trying to get the puck. You can tell why this guy has some skill. He is always around the puck. The old having the nose for the biscuit. 5:44 to go, period 2. We are tied at 1, and the shots are even at 13 apiece. K's break in with numbers. Coming through the high slot. The shot, again, through a maze of players that went off a Cyclone, and they look to break back the other way. Luciani comes ahead, feeds it to Trevor Lewis. He looks to center. Great block that time. Going down was Hartman, and Southorn has it for the K's. Comes ahead, right on the tape of Marino. Marino slows things down, tries to go cross ice, intercepted by Cincinnati. Now breaking out the other way is Trevor Lewis. With speed, goes into the Komet zone. Good job on the back check, though, by Brandon Marino. Now Eves is stepped into that time by Hartman, and we have a whistle and a face-off.
Fans, it's now time to show off your game. Tonight, the fan with the best hair will win a free MVP.
And we are going to have a penalty.
And just for being in the same row as
This coming at the 5:04 mark. We're going to take a timeout right now because there's a break in the action. We'll update you on the penalty and the power play. 5:04 to go in period 2. Komets 1, Cyclones 1. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
Parkview Sports Medicine.
Jeremy Gates.
Well, as we come out of the timeout, the Komets are playing shorthanded as they were assessed a too many men on the ice penalty. That was a rather marginal call, to say the least. Luciani has a shot blocked by Southorn. Jeremy Gates is serving the penalty. And the Komets are looking to clear the zone, and they do. Great job by Jordan Southorn. Gary Graham was vehemently protesting that call by Steven Renaud, but we all know about his pedigree from what happened Friday night in that bizarre finish at the Coliseum against Kalamazoo.
I was going to say, he's done that a lot with this particular official recently, hasn't he?
Now Coyle races in behind the net first to the puck, and ringing it around the boards to make a great clear that time is Martini. So far, the Komets have choked off the first minute of this power play. Cyclones again look to break it out as O'Keefe puts it ahead a little too strongly that time. So racing in, trying to get the puck between his feet so he can pinch it along the boards is Martini. But a great job that time by Coyle to pick up the loose puck, find the lane, and fire it the length of the rink. Now we're down to the final 45 of this Cyclones power play. 3:44 to go in period 2 of a tie hockey game, 1-1. Circling near the blue line, dumping it in is Burkholz. And again, the Komets, though, first to the biscuit, and they clear it as Coyle has had a great shift.
Offside, Ouellet was. Ouellet.
3.5 minutes to go in period 2.
It's evident. It's not hard to see. I know you see it too. It's just no urgency for the Cyclones with the man advantage. The Komets have so much time with the puck to clear it. And, we talk about the struggling power play all game, the Cyclones, but it is a good testament to the power play for Fort Wayne. They're 87.5% on the road, which is 4th best in the league.
And they've done a great job winning face-offs, especially when they have to choke off a Cincinnati power play. Kenton Miller started that, so Cincinnati probably with one last rush as we are down to the final 10 of this man advantage. Carried in that time, and a heavy hit that time is laid on Hazen. So the Komets have decided, we're just not going to let you cruise into our zone. I think they were disappointed in that lat goal. So now we're even again, and the Komets break in with numbers. Southorn through the slot. That time Schrock can't get very much lumber on it as he went to a knee. Racing behind is Miller, looking to center. Schrock is bodied off the play, but the Komets, Matt Carter, tremendous job. Carter in the slot. Passes that, looked like it was played with a high stick, but Renaud spreads the hands and says no. So racing in is Trevor Lewis. Lewis just dives underneath the check that time that was going to be applied by Southorn. Not sure what he was thinking, and he's a little woozy as he gets up, and it looks like the Komets will be called for offside, and Kaylee Schrock wants to know who is offside.
You know something I've noticed here is the fans at U.S. Bank, they pile up their beer cans on the glass. You can see it in about 5 spots around the ice. That last check was so hard it knocked down beer cans. I don't know, maybe it's a game they play here. See how many beer cans they can get knocked down on a check. Look, there goes another lady. She adds her beer can. That's funny. I've never seen that.
You can see in about 8 to 10 spots, the people who are sitting ringside are stacking cans up along the dasher. Well, that's bizarre to say the least.
Yeah.
So,
and the one, like I said, off the check, where the guy hit Schrock, a bunch of beer cans fell down and they didn't replace them. So maybe it's a game. I don't know. I'm just guessing here, but that's something cool I've never seen. You can see down the far corner there. They're adding more.
that is different. 2:26 to go here in period 2. 1-1, the Komets and Cyclones. Mike Embach scored the Komet goal in the first period. Josh Burkholz, the equalizer here in period 2. As we wind down to the final 2 and 16. Now the Komets look to break it out. Pass intended for Christian Ouellet. He stays with it, but they clog things up near the neutral zone. Boy, Matt Carter has really played with authority in this one. He is all over the ice. Now the Komets again trying to apply the forecheck. That time Ironson has his pins taken out from under him. Now Christian Ouellet finishes his check. Ooh, the stick came up a little high, and that time Aronson was looking for a penalty. And again, looks like the Komets will be called for an offside.
Christian Ouellet just throwing his body all over the rink here tonight. Got his stick up, like you said, a little bit high. And hit Aronson in the head, but fit him in the top of the bucket, so no harm, no foul. I mean, that's still a penalty, but Renaud didn't see it. Fortunately for the Komets.
Face off outside the Cincinnati zone, right in front of the Komet bench. Dean Ouellet going against Crowder. And that will be dumped into the Komet zone. They're going to wave off the icing, ruling that Coyle could have got to it in time before it crossed the goal line. Now the K's look to break out. Comes to center to Dean Ouellet. Ouellet just looks to snap the shot on, and that goes off the stick and high into the netting as we are down to our final minute and a half. Well, this reminder, one of the great sponsors of Komet Hockey and of K's Power Plays, Rock Bottom Inc. Rock Bottom, the answer for consumers who consider the environmental and economic benefits of working with a local remanufactured ink cartridge retailer. Check them out at rockbottominc.com or call them at 260-748-0636. Now we're down to 1:24 to play here in period number 2, a tie hockey game. Cincinnati now has a shot advantage of 14-13.
Look out.
Now that was a cross-ice pass that time from Brace intended for Luciani, but it wound up over the glass.
Good old souvenir for the fans. You know something Cincinnati has done well tonight is shut down Marino and Ouellet. Those two guys come in just absolutely on fire. And they have really been invisible tonight on some good defense by the Cyclones. And what I think they're doing is they're putting the Luciani line up against them. So going top line versus top line. And top line of the Cyclones has put a little more pressure on tonight. And that keeps Marino and Ouellet 200 feet away from the goal they're attacking.
Well, early on, Ouellet had a couple of quality scoring chances. And the great thing about Brandon Marino, he may be leading the league in scoring, but he never takes a shift off.
Never.
He plays both ends of the rink. Now we're under a minute to go, and it is the aforementioned Marino who is pinching along the boards trying to make something happen, but the Cyclones look to break it out. Komets do a great job of back-checking, and there's that man Marino who just chips the little pass behind the net. Now they scrum for it. Looks like Hartman's trying to pin it along the boards. Marino, though, it looks like he's tripped to the ice. No call. And the Komets break out. You have Hartman breaking in from the point. Hartman tries to keep it alive near top of the circle. Ouellet to Hartman behind the net, who feeds it along to Dean Ouellet. Down to the final 20 seconds. Komets looking for one last opportunity. Comes back to the point. Southorn tries to center. No, it's chipped away by Cincinnati. Now we're down to 12 seconds to go as Trevor Lewis tries to work it ahead. Behind the net, Meisner loses control. They center it, but nobody home except for Ouellet, who just kicks it into the corner. 2 seconds and 1, and that'll do it for period 2. So it will be quite a third period as these teams have gone back and forth. Cincinnati scoring the lone goal of the second period. End-to-end hockey. We are through 2 periods of play, and the Komets and Cyclones are tied 1-1 here at U.S. Bank. Now we are set to go for period number 3. Jeremiah Schneider, our producer back in Fort Wayne, Chris Treff, Ken Horman. Glad you could join us for tonight's Komet hockey game here on MyTV. And we are underway, a 1-1 tie as Cincinnati dumps the puck in the Komet zone. Meisner backhands it along the boards. Jace Coyle feeds it ahead, and a good backhanded pass off the boards is collected by the circling Mike Embach. Now Embach's pass is too strong for Christian Ouellet. That will be icing on the Komets. Komet Hockey is brought to you by Parkview Sports Medicine, Rock Bottom Inc., and Gregory & Associates, proud sponsors of My Komets on MyTV.
So head into this third period with teams being tied after the second period. Cincinnati is 3-7, and Fort Wayne is 4-2-2. So a little bit better record heading into the third period tied.
Cross-ice pass, one-timer, and that is steered away with the blocker that time of Meisner as he denies Luciani. And the K's do a great job of clearing. Boy, 40 seconds into period number 3, and a tremendous save by Meisner to keep this game tied. Komets try to apply some pressure, but Cincinnati breaks out as that time Embach loses his shillelagh. Now it's Luciani behind the boards. He loses the puck, and the Komets serve it off the sideboard. That's fired back in. That should have been an offside because it hit the blocker of Meisner, but they say it's a delayed offside. Now the Komets look to break out, circling his Coyle. He's bodied off the play by Crowder. Now the Komets break it out as Marino fires the pass over to Ouellet. Now back to Marino, a little too strong. And at center ice, it's collected by Eves. Eves comes in off the off wing, nobody home. Dean Ouellet has it poked off his stick and back deep into the Komet zone. Southorn has it for the K's. Now Southorn looking to break out. And there's going to be a penalty that time on Cincinnati. It's a delayed penalty as Meisner races to the bench. The K's break in. Dean Ouellet into the corner. Backhands it around for Southorn. Southorn at the half wall near, and it's touched by Cincinnati. But the K's will go on a power play. It'll be a hooking penalty called against the Cyclones.
Fort Wayne 0 for 1 of the day with the main advantage as they head back to the main advantage for the second time in this game. Not a lot of success their first time around, and they look to change that here. And this is a big opportunity for Fort Wayne, an early power play, and they can really take a hold in this game if they converge on the power play, 14.3, which is 15th best in the league, is the percentage on the year. As for specifics on the road, 16.5, which is 7th best in the league, so a little bit better power play on the road than at home.
Dan Eves goes in 2 minutes for hooking at 1:42, so the Komets power play goes to work. This is a Rock Bottom Inc. power play. Now it's Ouellet. Comes back to the point, teeing it up that time. The shot steered away that time by Medor as the high drive by Lacasse. Embach is back on the point during this power play. So the Komets look to break it out, scrumming along the board. Now Lacasse getting pressured by Crowder, who is celebrating his 29th birthday today. Now slipping that check, Dean Ouellet comes across to Embach. Embach fakes back, now goes deep in the zone. Now Ouellet circles around. He's been given a rough ride that time by Drew Daniels, comes back to the point. Lacasse, little dance to Embach, comes across right at the top of the circle. Shot steered by the blocker that time as Christian Ouellet had it right on. Now back in the corner, the Komets again try to keep it going. And digging out the puck that time is Szydlowski. Back to the point. Now near the line, Lacasse, a little backhand play. Komets get a little jammed up, and it comes back to center ice, and the race is on. Lacasse better turn on the Jets because racing in is Brian Nugent. Lacasse steps into him and flattens Nugent to the ice. Komets still have 42 seconds with the man advantage. We're under 17 minutes to play here in the third period. Again, the Rock Bottom Inc. power play. Rock Bottom, the answer for consumers who consider the environmental and economic benefits of working with a local remanufactured ink cartridge retailer. Call them at 748-0636. Komets again trying to put the pressure on, but it is whacked the length of the rink that time by Cincinnati's Devin Crow. Komets probably with one more good solid rush. Here's Ouellet coming off the hat trick Sunday at the Coliseum against Kalamazoo, but it gets too deep in the zone, and whirling and firing it out that time was Josh Burkholz. And in 2 seconds, we will be all even again at the 16-16 mark. So the Komets come up empty on that power play. Marino rushes in, steps a hip into Devin Crow. Kays again are putting on tremendous pressure in the Cincinnati zone. Now the Cyclones looking to break out with numbers. That shot is kicked out that time. Good crisp low shot by Aronson. Kays, though, come back the other way. Cross-ice pass was tipped away by the Cyclones. Good job by Lacasse to step into his man, Luciani. Ringing around the boards, and the Komets managed to clear the zone. Again, this has been a tremendously fast-paced game, and that time Pat O'Keefe's drive lines up high in the netting.
They continue to do a good job shutting down Marino through the Cyclones, and that was clearly in the game plan for Cincinnati as Marino comes into this game with 3 goals and 4 assists against the Cyclones this season. So they haven't been able to shut him down all year. They've done it so far, but Marino, he is a tough character. He works so hard, and he's got 15:40 left to see if he can change that.
Now Kenton Miller and Burkholz battle for the draw. Cincinnati will fire it into the Komet zone. Good job that time of fending off the defender with his off arm by Lacasse. Now the Komets break in, and there'll be offside called against the K's, as it looked like Schrock may have been a step ahead of Kenton Miller as he did one last little deke before crossing the blue line.
All Miller had to do was make a little headman pass there to avoid that offside because Schrock was flying down the far wall, and he was in ahead of the play, a little bit too antsy because Miller kind of gave him a fake pass. Schrock thought he was going to breeze into the zone, but miscommunication leads to an offside.
Lacasse steps into his man, racing back as Schrock, backhands it across to Jeremy Gates. Gates leaves it back behind for Lacasse, who comes ahead to Embach. That's a little too strong off of his stick, and Burkholz dumps it back behind where McDonald feeds it along the boards. Komets, though, do a good job of keeping it in as the K's are really ramping up the forecheck. Now right down the slot, it's chipped away by Pat O'Keefe and dumped into the Komet zone. Jeremy Gates, a little peek over the shoulder, races in. He's pushed by Buschbacher, and the Komets look to break out. Kenton Miller ahead to Embach. Embach backhands it into the zone. Medor out behind his net in the trapezoid, fires it along. Up around the high wall, Christian Ouellet races in with that quick stick. Shot right on. Embach backhander score! Oh, what a great play by the Komets! First Ouellet to keep it in, and then Embach with his second goal of the game, and the Komets take a 2-1 lead.
18th goal this season for Mike Embach, and we talked about his domination versus his former team and the former number 26 for the Cyclones. Mike Embach gets another tally versus Cincinnati. They are definitely second-guessing their decision to let him go. A good shot from the point, and Medor could not control the rebound. It bounced up in the air. He had no idea where it was. Just giving a little taparoo into the net was Embach. It's the easiest goal he'll score of his career, but you got to be in the right place at the right time, and he was. He gets the goal.
Embach, his 18th, second of the night. Christian Ouellet will have 1 assist. It comes at 5:22. The Komets go back on top 2-1. Now it's dumped into the Komet zone. Meisner leaves for Hartman. Now they're giving the assist to Coyle, but it's sure like Christian Ouellet did a great job of keeping that puck in. Now the Komets again comes back to the point. One-timer by Lacasse. That's off a Cyclone stick. Right to the side of the net. Score, Komets! What a tremendous play again by the K's.
What a play! Behind the back, no-look pass by Dean Ouellet. And I said it. You can't keep this guy quiet for long. Brandon Marino taps it home on the back post. 20th goal of the season. 59th point of the year. He increases his league lead. And like I said, this kid, you try to shut him down, he's going to keep working hard and prove you wrong, and he does that. Says, not today, Cincinnati. And he gives the Komets a 2-goal lead. What a pass by Dean Ouellet, though. Wow.
Well, Ouellet will have 1 assist, we hope. That coming at the 5:58 mark, so the Komets 2 goals, 36 seconds apart, and they now lead 3-1. And again, shades of Wheeling a couple of weeks ago, but still a lot of hockey left to be played. We're down to 13:48 to go. Gates bumps his man off the play, Eves. So Marino pots his 20th. They give Dean Ouellet the lone assist. And again at the 5:58 mark, now Carter's shot is blocked, but the K's have been living in the Cincinnati zone for the first 6.5 minutes of this period. Cyclones looking for an answer. Trying to work his way in that time is David McDonald. Komets look to clear. Pressure put on by Trevor Lewis, but a good job by Gates. Saucers the pass ahead to Carter, where it's collected by Kaylee Schrock. Schrock rubbed along the boards that time by Dan Eves. Now Carter with, again, the good forecheck. And now breaking out is David McDonald, the Cyclones captain. Up ahead off the stick of Burkholz, who has the goal for the Cyclones. Meisner, a good job of controlling the puck, backhands the pass neatly, and the Komets break out. To center to Miller. Miller shot right on, and gloved that time by Medor. And the Komets, a goal at 5:22 by Embach, his second of the game, and then 36 seconds later, Marino, his 20th of the season. We have a timeout here at U.S. Bank Arena with 12:50 to go. The Komets lead the Cyclones 3-1. This is My Komets on My TV.
Sports Medicine.
Along with producer Jeremiah Schneider back in Fort Wayne, Chris Treff, Ken Horman at U.S. Bank Arena in Cincinnati, where the Komets have exploded 2 goals in 36 seconds to take a 3-1 lead over Cincinnati here in the third period. 12:40 to go, and the Komets looking for more. Kenton Miller in the circle. That shot is deflected away that time by the defender McFadden. Drive by Coyle. That is blocked away that time by the stick hand of Rob Medor. Now it's back into neutral ice. Here comes Christian Ouellet. Ouellet trying to weave his way through defenders. It's pinched along. Cross-ice pass goes to Martini, who just bangs it in. Boy, losing his footing that time was Medor as he was going to play the puck. That gives the Komets a chance. Coyle has the stick up. He was teed up, ready for a pass coming back to the point. And now the Cyclones look to break out. Weaving through this time is McFadden. They try to center. A little backhander. Almost kicked in by the Komets, and it ends up in the net. As that time it went off the skate. It looked like that time a Martini, and then it was banged in. I'm not really sure. Big celebration that time by Buschbacher, but it looked like that may have caromed in off the skate of a Komet. It comes at 8 minutes even to go in the third. Looks like they'll give the goal to Buschbacher.
Right at the goal mouth. That's a huge response by Cincinnati. You know, you think the TV timeout's just for the media, but the coaches use a timeout just to their advantage, like it's a normal timeout in the game, and they do so there. And head coach of the Cincinnati Cyclones, Ben Simon, tells his team what to do, and they go out, work hard, and get the goal. A lot of persistence there in the crease, and Meisner did his best to keep the puck out. But on the third or fourth try, they finally got it across the goal line, and just barely. It doesn't matter how it goes in, it matters that it goes in. It's 3-2.
Yep. They give it to Bushbacher, his third of the season at the 8-minute mark. And they give Burkholz an assist. They give 2 assists, okay. McFadden gets the other. Well, it always is the old axiom, you throw the puck on net and good things can happen. And that's what happened there for the Cyclones. Now the puck is poked away from Southorn, but Hartman gathers, fires it back into the Cincinnati zone, delayed offside. Hartman has the puck again. He'll just try to flip it off the boards, a little too strong for Marino. So at the 8-minute mark even, Bushbacher his third, Burkholz and McFadden the assist. There's a shot right on. 2 saves that time by Meisner. And the momentum continues to swing back and forth each way. Komets hanging on to the 3-2 lead as the clock winds down to 10:36 to go.
I think Fort Wayne's kind of trying to go into a shell to hold this lead, and it's not working for them. Cincinnati just getting into the zone with the utmost ease, and they're really putting a lot of pressure on Fort Wayne. Excellent response by Cincinnati.
Now here's Carter racing in. Puck is chipped back toward the point. Gates fans on it initially, tries to keep it alive for Szydlowski. Here come the Cyclones looking to break in with numbers. Spinning around that time is Trevor Lewis. Now we've got a Cyclone in the crease as Gates rode his man right into the net that time, Hazen, and the Komets look to break out. Carter, though, bumped off the play that time. Pretty good back check by the defender O'Keefe. Now it's Carter again pinching along the boards as the K's work it back into the Cincinnati zone. Under 10 minutes to go. Komets hanging on to the 1-goal lead, 3-2. It's been end-to-end action. Shots now favor the Komets 20-18. With speed, racing up was McFadden, had his pocket picked. Komets look for a centering pass. Kenton Miller tries to toss it back to the point, but here comes Cincinnati going back the other way. Now racing in, here comes Bushbacher, who just got that goal. Back at the point, McFadden, and he loses it between his feet. Has to just rip it right back into the zone. That's a delayed offside. Cincinnati clears on the touch-up, and the Komets will look to regather. Now breaking out is Jace Coyle, fine rushing defenseman as he dumps it in. That took a crazy carom off the backboards and skittered past the goaltender McGraw. Now racing in that time is Christian Ouellet as he tried to jam it in up front, denied that time by Medor. Circling is Martini. That goes off the skate that time of Coyle, but he manages to one-handed out into center ice. Dropping down was Christian Ouellet, and here come the Cyclones back the other way. Crowder tries to split the defense. He spins down, and it's gloved that time. Now a little cross-check from behind on Coyle. So we've got a timeout here at the U.S. Bank Arena. 8:46 to go in regulation. The Komets lead the Cyclones 3-2. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
Fort Wayne's own, presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Here we go as the face-off winds up right on the Komet goal. And Meisner had to be ready for that quick shot. 8:41 to go.
Gotta be on your toes on a play like that. Comes through and it takes a deflection. If you're not ready because it was so quick off the draw, that one could sneak past you. But Meisner was there to make the save.
On the Komets' second goal, they indeed did change the assist from Coyle to Christian Ouellet. And then on the Komets' third goal by Marino, Dean Ouellet got an assist, and then Chris Auger was also credited with an assist. That shot is right on. That is kicked aside that time by Medors. We're under 8.5 minutes to go. The Komets would love to get another goal. Boy, that time Crowder just had the arm wrapped around Dean Ouellet.
Give him a hug.
Now the shot comes through the middle, and here comes Luciani right along the boards. He forgets the puck, and Auger manages to steer it out. Backhanded pass a little too strong for Southorn, and here is Luciani racing in off the right wing. Hartman gives chase, and great defense that time by Hartman. But now racing in is Brace, tries to center, no, and Southorn was holding his arm up like his stick was being held. No call. Centering pass attempt, that's dumped into the corner by Auger. And a great save that time by Meisner, as sneaking in from the point was Aronson. Now about 7:38 to go in the game. Komets clinging to the 3-2 lead. They scrum along the boards. Southorn tries to find a way to break out. He is absolutely chopped on the stick that time by Brace. Now Dean Ouellet Comes across to Marino. Marino has some ice to work with. He comes through the slot. Now Marino looks for a backhand. As Marino skates right in, he's in the crease. He's being shoved from behind. Trying to race in to pick up the loose puck was Carter, but no. And now the Komets go for a line change as Dean Ouellet and Marino come off for fresh troops. We wind down to 7 minutes to go in regulation. Haley Schrock pinches in along center ice, but it's poked away that time by Lewis. Now here come the Cyclones. Good back check by Schrock as he steps into Hazen. Now back along behind the net. Gates pinches his defender off the play, Eves, and here come the Komets breaking out. Good pass off wing. Here comes Schrock as he leans in. Centers. That time it's blocked away and then sticked away by Medor. But Szydlowski has it. Szydlowski at the point. Throws it right on goal. Oh, a deflection. Just wide. Schrock was looking there on the doorstep. Crowder tries to feather it ahead. Now stepped into was Eves by Szydlowski. We're under 6.5 minutes to go in regulation. Komets hanging on to the 3-2 lead. Carter comes across. Working with a little ice that time, and then going for the change was Lacasse. And we have a whistle and a face-off. And we have a timeout here at U.S. Bank Arena. 6 minutes, 13 seconds left in regulation. The Komets 3, Cincinnati 2. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
Presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
6 minutes, 13 seconds remain in regulation here in period 3. The Komets 3, Cincinnati 2. And right now they're having an issue dropping the puck. As already one Komet's been run out of the face-off circle, so it was Christian Ouellet in to joust with Josh Burkholz for that draw. Winds up in the Cincinnati zone. And here come the Cyclones breaking out. Comes across to Drew Daniels, dumped into the Komet zone. Martini rings it around the boards and is just chipped out neatly by Ouellet. Under 6 minutes to go in regulation. A lot of action now at neutral ice. That's dumped in. Look out between the feet of the defender Martini, but racing back on the backup was Jace Coyle. Now the Komets looking to break out. Here's Christian Ouellet. High on the boards, tries to center. A little too strong for Kenton Miller, who tries to knife the puck away from Drew Daniels, and that pass is a little too strong. So if anything, Kenton Miller distracted him and made him ice the puck. So now we're down to 5.5 minutes to play. So far here in period 3, the Komets have outshot Cincinnati 11-6. They lead it 3-2.
This is crucial for Fort Wayne to make sure there is no turnovers at either blue line, offensive zone and defensive zone. Get the puck deep and get it out of your own end. Those are the goals for the rest of the game. You don't have to be fancy. Just get the puck out. That's what Gary Graham is stressing on the bench right now.
Now Marino pursues Josh McFadden, so the Komets are really putting on quite a forecheck here. And the great thing about that is with all the pressure you can put on the Cyclones, it's eating up clock as we now wind down to about 5 minutes to go. Here is Dean Ouellet, who's been a big factor in this game, bangs it off the boards. Collected at center ice by Aronson. Now here come the Cyclones. Luciani with a shot that's deflected off the glove that time of Meisner, who has stood tall in the nets tonight. Under 5 minutes to play. Now breaking in is Crowder, celebrating his 29th birthday. Right in front, trying to jam it through. That time was Luciani, but Meisner again stands his ground. Centering pass, intercepted. Komets looking to break out. Here is Ouellet. He's got Marino on his wing. Good pass to Marino. Now back to Ouellet. He circles near the top of the circle. Now here is Ouellet. Right down the slot. That's off the body that time in the door. Lacasse in there trying to pick up some loose change. Now the Cyclones look to break out. Brace takes a quick peek. Now back to his defense. And circling in his own zone is Devin Crow. Comes right up the middle. Now Crowder just backhands it deep into the Komet zone. 4:10 to go. Collected by Jeremy Gates. He comes up high to Carter. Carter in the off wing. Tries to slide by his defender, but a hip is stuck into him by O'Keefe. Now in the corner. Again, great forecheck by the Komets as they're just trying to eat some clock. Haley Schrock, who always has the feet moving, works into the corner. He's down on the ice. They try to dig it out. Eves looking for it, but who comes up with it? The Komet captain. To the point. Gates, a shot right on, and it's gloved by Medor as he drops to his knees. And now 3:44 left in regulation. Komets 3, Cyclones 2.
That's an easy save by Medor, the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania native. No screen, right into the glove, and he makes the stop and sets things up for a face-off to his right. Crucial moments of this game, 3:44 left in the third. A battle of the wits here between these two clubs. 2 huge points, and the Cyclones need one to tie.
Szydlowski jousting for the face-off with Dan Eves. It's flipped high into the neutral area. Lacasse knocked it down. His backhand attempt to dump it back deeply went off a Cyclone player. Now the Komets just cleared a neutral ice. 3.5 minutes left in regulation. McDonald goes cross ice. That's dumped into the Komet corner. Racing in is Jeremy Gates. Gates will turn. Oh, it winds up right in front of the Komet net, then right on the stick that time of McDonald. And fortunately, it caromed out, but it's kept in by Hazen.
We said you got to get the puck out if it's within 5 feet of your own blue line, and they have 2 opportunities. They don't get it out. Now they're pinning their own end.
But wisely collected. Oh, there's some great poise by Szydlowski, and he just chips it ahead. Backhanded in on a high flip that time. It's gloved by Medor. Under 3 minutes to go. Now we're probably a couple of minutes away to see if this game stays the same when Medor might be pulled. That's too strong. That should be an icing, and indeed it is. Well, we were talking about how one of the better players on this team, Paul Crowder, who along with Anthony Luciani, his line mate, spent some time in the American Hockey League. Crowder turning 29 today. I guess another birthday to celebrate, Chris. Dan Lamont, who's the husband of the Komet seamstress, Nancy Lamont, celebrating his birthday. And boy, Nancy
great family.
Does great work, and she's really had a lot to do this year as far as putting names on jerseys. So a good happy birthday there. Now we're just about 2.5 minutes to go. Pinching along the boards is Dean Ouellet. And Marino hustles back into center ice. Rushing into the play is Southorn. Komets just looking to get it deep. Marino tries to chip it ahead. Now he intercepts the pass. Looks to come across for Ouellet. They're going to say offside. And Marino spins on his knees on the ice. 2 minutes, 20 seconds left. Komets have their number 1 line out there. Now this is interesting because you have Marino and Ouellet out there, but now you have Dean Ouellet between them. Ouellet was the centerman between these two, while Scott Fleming was up with Worcester, the American League.
Interesting note, I haven't seen Scott Fleming at all this period or really any of last period. I don't know if I can't really see him on the bench. I'm not sure what's going on. Hopefully he's not hurt, but I don't see him on the bench. So
Chris,
that's why Dean Ouellet has been playing with Ouellet and Marino.
You make a good point. I don't recall we've called his number at all this period. We're under 2 minutes to play. Here is Marino, comes back up high to Ouellet, cruising down the slot. Ouellet will just take his time. Komets are working a little clock. Now it's a little too strong for Marino, but racing in to make the play. Good job that time by Miller. We are now down to 100 seconds left in regulation. The Komets leading 3-2. Cyclones break out. Luciani flips the high pass into the corner. Here comes the goalie. So at the 1.5-minute mark, Medor is pulled for the extra attacker. Komets look to feed it out. And they can't as Marino, now he gets it ahead. Open net for the Komets. Embach scores! Embach, what a job! And Embach has the hat trick, and the Komets lead it 4-2.
Another goal for Embach versus the Cyclones. He gets the hat trick for the Komets, which is their 2nd game in a row with a hat trick. And man, these individual efforts by the Komets as of late is just leading to their great success. And that should seal a deal for Cincinnati, and they're still going to be winless in the month of February if the Komets can hold this lead with 1:21 left.
Embach, the hat trick, his 3rd of the game, 19th of the season at the 18:39 mark. And we'll see who they give the assist to. I think Marino should have one of them, as most of the crowd heading for the exits. That'll be an icing called on the Komets. 1:14 left.
Man, you know, the Cincinnati management is just sitting upstairs right now steaming because they've let a talent go that is just on fire. And it's not just, since he left, but he has just done so well for the Komets. Since joining Fort Wayne, he now has 13 goals. And that makes up a majority of the 19 he has on the season. So Mike Embach, hats off to you, no pun intended, as he is playing so well. And like I said, another great individual effort.
Well, they give the lone assist to Jordan Southorn, although I thought Marino got a stick on the puck to chip it out to start that play. And who knows, they may add one a little later on because we've had a couple of changes.
Hey, you're 1 for 1 tonight, so we might get a change here.
But again, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors tonight, Parkview Sports Medicine, Gregory & Associate. And again, Gregory & Associate, they pulled Medora again with the face-off in the Komet zone. And there is a shot, heavy traffic in front, but somehow through the maze of Cyclones, Meisner sees it, and he's got it in the big mitt.
Ben Simon, the head coach of the Cyclones, with a never-say-die attitude. He's a former professional player himself. He actually played in the NHL for parts of a few seasons for the Thrashers and Blue Jackets. This is his first head coaching job as not being a player head coach, as that's what he was when he coached in Europe. He was assistant coach for the Rockets the last couple of years.
Now off the draw, and again trying to sneak in back door was Aronson. We're down to the final minute of play here at US Bank Arena. Centering attempt, they try to jam it home. Meisner, though, puts the big pad out there and hugs the post. Komets are on their way to yet another win here in Cincinnati. Aronson again pinching in. Basically, it's all hands on deck for the Cyclones as 6 players are deep near the Komet goal. Kay's looking for one last clear. Crowder is just rubbed off the play by Southorn. Luciani tries to center. Now up at the slot. There's a drive. Big save that time by Meisner. As bidding for the goal is McFadden. And it's cleared to neutral ice. And there is the guy who's been all over the building tonight, Brandon Marino, giving chase again just to force Cincinnati to eat more time off the clock. That pass winds up in the Komet zone. Southorn fell. Luciani skates in. Tries to circle around in center. He still has the puck. Aronson tries to tee it up. That goes over the top of the net, down to the final 10. Now it's Brace trying to center. There's a shot. That's off the glove of Meisner as he went down and played it high right near his mask. And that'll do it. The hockey game is over, and the Komets have done it again. They have skated into US Bank Arena in Cincinnati, and they have defeated the Cyclones by the final score of 4-2. 2 huge points for the Komets. We talked about this being a 4-pointer, and right now the Komets with 54 points have pulled into a tie for second place with Cincinnati. Both teams have 54 points, and these teams will be renewing acquaintances again very soon. We will take a timeout, come back for our third period recap.
Presented by Parkview Sports Medicine and airing exclusively on MyTV Fort Wayne.